Hi, I'm Terri Murphy, Senior Editor for Realty Times Women in Business, Women in Real Estate in the men's room with Murphy. We got both today. And the one thing that changes in real estate besides the market is what's happening in real estate to enable agents to have a better experience with their clients and their customers. And today we have a very interesting group. We've got like a whole party, so stick around. Mr. James Wang is with us. He's the co-founder and CEO of REAI. It's a company with proprietary technology to help agents automate what they do and how they do it. He's in Atlanta, just so you have a sense of how global this is. The good-looking guy, the other good-looking guy is Elias Leverett, and he is in Peru, as in the country, Peru. And he handles their business development and some of their marketing and business in general. And then we have Miss D, graduate of Loyola here in Chicago, but she comes from Sri Lanka and apparently came all the way here to find her mate, which is interesting. She is actually a realtor with Keller Williams in Atlanta and has multiple degrees as well as marketing experience. And I'd like to start with you, Mr. Wang. How did this come about? You're, as you quoted, a serial entrepreneur. You've got tech patents. I don't even know how to spell patents, but good for you. You've been so able to coordinate the technology with practicing because you also are an investor, so you understand the transactional part of it. Tell us a little bit more about what REAI is and how it helps agents and the industry.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's an interesting question. So basically, I think the interesting twist here is that I'm a techie person. I've been doing a lot of being a tech executive for almost like 15 or 20 years. And then
almost these two. Yeah. Okay.
And I started doing real estate investment after 2009, and I thought it's a good time. And I end up actually, it's a terrible experience. I end up like cutting loss, had to sell the first two investment property because it just getting to very wrong, wrong choices, and the decision making was really bad. Then I realized a lot of data, a lot of information there, it was missing, and the agent was so busy, the agent couldn't help me in time, and I ended up like closing some deals which I should not get into. And then in hindsight, I realized, because I was working on some AI projects before, I wrote some other AI, designed some systems, and I wrote some patents on different areas. But I think in real estate industry, we definitely lack the utilizing the most cutting edge advanced technology to help agents to do a much better job. That's why we started REAR. And so my other co-founders is one of the top-notch machine learning PhDs in Georgia Tech. We also, an AI CTO was also, working with us. So we've been working all along the way to put together technology that can elevate the real estate agents to do their job much easier. We can pretty much show them most of their, groundwork on their behalf, like starting from, make a new listing to advising the client to do the remodeling, all the way to matching them to the right property, and then generate the offer letter and all the documentation for closing. So I think a lot of things we can automate and help agents be.
Well, that's what this sounds like. Having been a practicing agent myself for many years, we've watched the evolution of programs that started to help systematize the transaction. And of course, it changes from state to state. It changes now nationally with new disruptions. So, Elias, I would ask you, what's been the biggest, what I would say, solution within this particular platform that has been with you as business development and marketing that agents or their companies have said, this is really the best? This is because there's so many platforms out there, everybody claiming to manage the transaction. And when we ask Ms. D about that, she'll have some hands-on policy. But I wonder with you, if the challenges of differentiation in the marketplace for a new platform.
So great question, first and foremost, thank you. So for me, what differentiates REAI from everything else out there in the market is it's all fluff. Right now everybody is trying to use AI as a buzzword, and I listen to industry coaches and leaders that try to use the word just to sell some tickets to get people to fill their seats when they're talking, and it's just glorified chat GPT or something else. Learn how to prompt a GPT to write a description to put in the MLS. And with REAI, what separates it is not only its utility patents, the only ones in the industry that actually have them, as well as a couple that are patent pending for utility within the industry, but its ability to match prospective buyers and sellers, as well as the ability to completely automate a lot of the mundane process and tasks that really bog down a real estate agent or even somebody that's wanting just to do a FISBO, for sale by owner, because let's face it, the industry as a whole, along with many other industries, haven't changed in 20, 30 years. I've been adjacent or within the industry since 2007, 2008. And even last year when I was in Palm Desert at a Berkshire event, I was talking to agents that were still using fax machines and were getting angry that their brokerages were shoving them onto their custom CRM Exceed. So
Wow.
it's this tool's meant to really superpower agents, and not just agents, but anybody wanting to be a part of a real estate transaction. It's meant to be a tool, not to replace. And that's really something I think that separates us from others in the industry, as well as other AI solutions out there.
Well, that's the whole thing about AI. I mean, you can't put AI in a box, essentially, because there's all kinds of things. And then just chat came out, and then perplexity came out. And it's interesting because even as an author, which I've done for years, and as a senior editor, it's sort of like you can sniff AI. You just know when it's not the real voice or the real solution. So it's interesting. I didn't know that it wrote descriptions or helped write descriptions. That would be useful because most people are still using, stunning, stunning views. It's like,
oh yeah, it's the idea with and James can kind of jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole idea here is it's not just one set of a solution; it's a whole ecosystem of
right.
solutions for
Good
automation
word.
tool sets as
Good
well. So
word.
whole flywheel, if
Yeah.
you will, of AI solutions for the real estate industry as a whole. And it's meant to be disruptive and transformative, to be able to not just bring revolution, but evolution to a very antiquated way of doing things.
Yeah. So basically, I'm sorry. So basically, like a real estate agent need to list the property for the homeowners. Normally now they have to go through a long manual process, spend hours, take pictures and then writing a description and then fill the fields and features. And the fields and features is also tricky because by resource standards, there's hundreds of thousands different fields that's supposed to fill, and nobody has the capacity to go through all those hundreds or thousands of different sections. So a lot of people just write whatever they want. And as a result, most of the listings non-compliant with industry rules or whatever the industry is supposed to be. So, using our system, we can automate the whole system, write a captivating listing within just 15 seconds. Every image, we auto-populate the tags, the even conditions, what each image is about, and then the whole description based on the image and based on other neighborhood and other information the machine learning model get. And then we auto-populate all those fields that are relevant, even if the house doesn't have a lakefront, doesn't have a pool, it's not a river or lakefront, or doesn't have a subdivision community like amenities, then we're gonna filter out all those section and fields. So agent, you don't need to. And the other, going one more further, is that we can do auto compliance. So if there's some compliance violation, it's an image as a compliance violation of some image rules or the other things, we auto correct it, or we let the agent know that these are or violate the fair housing rules.
I'm watching Miss D go, because know what kind of issues we're dealing with. It sounds to me like, D, and tell me about this, that not only will this circumvent, and I think Elias will agree, accuracy in tax information, the kind of thing that we used to have. So I used to have to go and buy popcorn for the tax guy so he'd give me the info at the local area. And now it's just at your fingertips. So tell me how that's revolutionizing what you're doing is actually being a practitioner in the industry.
So for me, it helps on two fronts. I mean, I think as an agent, one of the most tedious parts of listing is actually inputting it in the system and then making sure that everything is right. And I find that what took my assistant a couple of hours is now taking us maybe 45 minutes because it has this unique ability to read the video and the images, so it can write a description based on that. And then, what I need to do now is to just spend some time tweaking it a little bit as opposed to, thinking about, time that I would have normally spent, maybe 45 minutes, an hour just coming up with that captivating description so that buyers will come in and, help with the marketing. So on that end, I now have more time that I can devote to actually marketing a property because this kind of stuff gets taken care of. But the other aspect that I really like is, as you know, we have a big inventory shortage right now. And not all properties that come to the market are necessarily moving ready. And some of it requires a buyer to have a little bit of imagination as to what the property could be. And so with this tool, the Reimagine tool, we can literally take a picture of, the room. And I can say, oh, can you imagine if we made this window come in here, or you like a mid-century look, we could do this like that. And and then we type it in and it has an ability to actually put into a picture what a buyer or what somebody else may have in their mind and actually show the potential of the property. So for a buyer, that I think is, invaluable because, they see a big pile of clothes or a whole lot of crap on the floor. And, sometimes it's difficult to imagine what it could be. So that I think is a beauty of the system because it allows buyers to do that. So I feel like it's a win-win. And then again, having this essentially be like an end-to-end, process, it helps with, just the management of the transaction. I don't think it will ever replace an agent, but it does give them something that we all need more of, which is time.
Well, and that's all we all have. So I was watching you shake your head, Elias. Was there something you were going to add?
No, I just really quickly wanted to interject. I do have a hard stop. I have a pressing appointment that
That's okay. That's okay. We're just happy to have you.
So thank you for taking the time.
Yeah.
Terri,
the marketing piece of that, we're going to have to follow up with you on that because we really want to get that differentiation in the marketplace. So thanks for joining us. But I would like to go back to then Mr. Wang and say, does this have a back-end capability, and Misty, you can comment on that, to after the transaction to create any kind of sourcing or history so that you never lose your past clients?
Yes.
Book agents, unfortunately, they leave $90,000 to $100,000 on the table because they don't ever follow up with the past clients. And so I was wondering, just as a licensed agent myself, since before you were born, Dee, was there a mechanism or a protocol built into that platform?
Yes, because I think nowadays a lot of agents is just flooded with all the tasks. So every time when the a deal is closed, agents doesn't have a capacity to always update or keep on follow back.
Exactly.
Up with the client about how things go. So but the data is there. So the best way to streamline the process is through the real AI. We're talking about real AI, not just ChatGPT thing, but the real thing. So what we have baked into our system is that we built quite some unique models that, based on the users or based on the agent and the client's different situation and what their deals, what kind of deals they did, and what kind of closing, what kind of terms it is, we dig deep into this, and then we can project what the user could be or might be thinking about going to the future, next few months or next year, or any potential needs going forward after they close the deal. And then we can provide this projective information and also we can alert the agent. It's time to this client might have some need, and then we can alert the agent to follow up with the client based on whatever the client might need, or based on whatever we project the client might need, because it could be after 2-3 years they might have different needs. They might need to downsize or upsize it.
We know that, right?
Or maybe we project the family might grow, so they all have different needs, or we project they might want to keep it as rental or something. So that's something that we're already baked in the system. So even after the deal is closed, our AI can still run in the back. Even after agents on vacation or 1 year forget about this, we can alert them. Dantika, please go ahead.
Well, before that, I just want to say, why did you wait 40 years? So I could have had this 40 years ago, but you waited so that she can look like the superstar. That's amazing, because now I have a quick question. Ms. D, because that obviously has some platform of a client relationship management platform in it, do you use an external CRM as well?
I do. I'm an old-fashioned pick up the phone and call person, but at the same time, I think when you mix that with, certain automated tasks, it doesn't come across to the clients as, oh, she's just sending me another, automated email. I feel like it's a perfect balance between the personal and the informational.
Wow. I have a question for Mr. Wang about, because you kept saying real AI as opposed to the fake AI. And would you tell me what you mean by real AI?
Well, we started almost 7 years ago, so it's definitely totally not dependent on anything like GPT or ChatGPT or something like that. And we started 7 years ago. We built our own machine learning models, AI algorithms. We put together some unique applications, and we filed for USPTO patents, and we were granted full utility patents. So, and I don't think anyone in the industry, any, self-claimed AI vendors have any patents like what we have. And I think what we can do is definitely groundbreaking, that can provide real solution for the real estate industry, not just some off-the-shelf applications that you do some piecemeal, you do some, shallow applications or very generic like things, but it doesn't cater into users' specific needs, because every agent and every client of theirs have different needs. But
absolutely. Well, and
there's no way to get into that. Yeah.
And different markets. Go ahead.
If you don't mind, most of our engineers are out of Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech is doing amazing things with AI. It's not an accident that we have a lot of tech companies actually, not headquartered, but have big offices like Google, Microsoft, all of that around Georgia Tech, because they want to attract that talent that is producing all this amazing, machine learning models. And personally, my son is at Georgia Tech, so I kind of have a front row seat as to some of the things that he is doing. And it's amazing.
Unfair advantage, it's called, kids. Unfair advantage. She made her own spy. I mean, I think that's terrific. Well, here's the thing. Because I have a different perspective, I've been in the real estate industry for many, many years, back when we didn't have a CRM, and we didn't have the ability to track and monitor and measure. And what I've seen in my, having been part of the Data Advocates Internet Crusade, when we brought the internet to the real estate industry, way back in the 90s, we have been able to be firsthand at watching how we keep accumulating and associating platforms that help the agent. So you talked about pictures and tours. I remember paying tons of money for the first tours, or tons of money for the first centralization to put things through MLS faster. I mean, because there were days that you typed it and mailed it, just so you know, it was that long ago. And I date myself with Too Bad, Too Sad. Makes me appreciate what you've done, Mr. Wang, and your team. And you're smart enough and savvy enough and brilliant enough to have people that are both in the field, because I think that's one of the biggest issues we have, is that we don't have a real practitioner putting up with buyers and sellers, changing everything, changing board rules, changing. I think you're going to see some big changes in MLS searches. And so you've got a secret weapon with Miss D here, and her son. But so do you have a demo for this platform?
Yeah. We had some features we haven't totally open to public yet, but we have a demo that people, especially real estate agent, when they're about to have a new property they want to list to the market, we have a process that we can show them the demo that how do you automate.
That's what I mean. I think in order I hate calling you Miss D, but that works. What it does, I think that the agent has to experience what the differentiation is, because unfortunately, as you know, there's just millions of different platforms, but this one to me sounds like the most comprehensive. And as you roll it out, I would hope that we could revisit this when we add a new function or open a new function to the public. In the meantime, Mr. Wang, where should somebody go if they want more to know about the platform, how to acquire it, pricing, wrapping up time, training, whatever?
Yeah, right now they can, our website is reai.co. So they can go to REA, get a general information first about how we help agents and how we help agents, client, buyer and homeowner and seller clients. And we have a few layers so they can see how the process goes. We had a system called mypropel.com, which we opened up to real estate agent last year. And we have a partner, enterprise partner, OcuSale. They're actually utilizing this layer to help some MS groups.
Okay.
So some agent can use mypropel.com, but now it's going to be all linked up to reai.co. So agent can use that to auto-generate a captivating new listing very quickly within 20 seconds, 15, 20
That's
seconds.
What she said.
They can generate different style description. They can remodel the house. They can ask questions, get advice or get support through our rebought, another feature. But next few months, we're going to release more advanced feature, which is like we can match the agent's buy client to the property, so agents can do much easier job. So basically,
it sounds like you're way ahead of the game. It sounds very comprehensive and clearly not in one interview. But Ms. Borst, tell me in your closing comments here, how has that profoundly changed your listing presentation? Because clearly you have a secret weapon. I like to use that word because it's so hard to differentiate at the listing or the buyer table as is to show value. Right. And this one shows like you're on the bleeding edge of what you can do. Tell us a little bit about what you would say to a buyer or seller about this kind of information.
Well, I think that what I would say is that it helps the transaction go easier. We have a better control over the management of it for the most part. I mean, obviously there will always be, human things that'll happen, but this is a little more predictable. And I think from a agent's perspective, when you're presenting something like that, you're giving a seller confidence that this is a professional. This is not a fly-by-night thing. You have a professional who knows what they're doing, who has a very good command of the market and and they can have confidence on how.
We just lost you. You just went, I think you hit your
Oh, sorry.
No, you were on a good roll. You said it would help the seller with the confidence that it was being professionally handled.
I mean, for most sellers, this is the largest, financial transaction. And you want to have confidence. If I was a seller, I would want to have confidence that the person that I'm entrusting this transaction to knows what they're doing and has the necessary technology that you obviously need in this. We are basically seeing an industry disruption. It's not it's going to be a disruption, and they are ahead of the game and they know what's coming and they know how to, help them make that sale. And
I think you really hit it on the head when you said it really elevates the professionalism to a business and not a hobby. And so we have to thank Mr. Wang and the team for their vision on helping to improve the experience of the consumer, because at the end of the day, we need food, shelter, and clothing, and shelter is important. So I want to thank you for joining us. And Mr. Wang, thank you for bringing this brilliant opportunity to the industry. We at Realty Times like to be the repository of important things and important additions to the real estate industry. I hope you'll join us again in the future. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Realty Times Women in Business, Women in Real Estate in the Men's Room with Murph. Thanks again for joining us, and join us again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.